Now, speaking of which, we have another Mississauga native in the building right now, and he is breaking barriers through Canadian basketball. You guys already know me. I've been hooping since the days of, you know, Jordan versus Magic back in like 91 and what have you. So this is a really special moment for me right now because I finally get to interview my very first professional athlete within basketball. And I'm proud to say that I've known this guy ever since 2002. One thing that I'll let you guys know is when I first tried out for the basketball team at Loyola Catholic Secondary School back in 02, I believe, we had to do shooting drills. And of course, my assignment was this gentleman sitting in front of me. And this guy was so tall, I couldn't even see the nets. I literally had to like ask him if he could like move to the side a little bit. I don't know if you remember that, but fair enough. Because I'm trying to forget that memory as well. But nonetheless, I'm glad I have him in the building right now, and he has broken so many doors for Canadian basketball. And if it weren't for him, then we would not see an influx of talent that you now see in the NBA and going into D1 schools in America. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about my man, Ryan Wright. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for having me. I know we've been talking about this for a couple summers now, man, trying to get me on the show, but it's great to be here, great to chop it up with you, and you know, I'm excited to be here, man.
Absolutely, man. Let's do this. And by the way, for all the people who are listening in right now, my man is definitely representing the Red Wave movement with the Boulevard T-shirt. Yeah, so gotta show support to get support, man.
Exactly.
That's what I say.
You know, self-comment Loyola.
Yeah, yes.
You gotta rep it.
You always gotta rep it, man. You always gotta rep it. Those were the days, man. I'm telling you, like. Every summer, everyone was going to the community center to play ball.
Every Friday, South Common Community Center was the hot spot for ball and saga. Like, I don't care, you know, where you were from, and whether you were from Meadowville, or whether you were from
like Acorn,
whether you were from
Woodlands,
you know, Bloor and Fieldgate on the east side. Like, everyone went to Loyola. South Common on Fridays to run ball. So like that was like the hot spot, man. And you know, there was so much talent in the area, and just such great memories about that, man. So it's definitely been a part of my development. And every time I come back, I always make sure I come back to that area and that neighborhood, and you know, I still get a lot of love out there, man. So it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, man. You definitely gotta show that love for sure, man. But let's get things started, man. Since we are talking about, you know, memory lane and what have you, what made you develop your basketball Jones, so to speak?
Oh man, you know, growing up, my two favorite players were probably I'll take that back. Three favorite players. Okay. So, as a kid, my two favorite players were Michael Jordan and Shaq.
Yeah.
First of all, Michael Jordan in the 90s, you know, as the saying goes, I want to be like Mike. Everyone wanted to be like Mike.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? From the tongue sticking out, from the one foot fade away, dribbling the ball with, you know, trying to palm it with one hand, even though you couldn't palm it.
You're just slip out.
So you grab a smaller ball or a tennis ball, you try to palm it. Everyone tried to mimic Mike, and you know, whether you were, you know, a tall kid, a short kid, or whatever shape or size or race you were, you always try to mimic Mike, man. So you know, that was one of the main guys that got me into playing basketball. Because I played everything when I was a kid. You know, soccer, baseball. You know, did karate, did you know, whatever I could get my hands on, whatever I can do, I did it. Yeah. But Mike was one of the guys who really got me into playing basketball, and seeing him fly through the air and his athleticism, it was like watching a superhuman. It was amazing. Beauty. The second guy who I say really got me into basketball also was Shaq. You know, Shaq was again, just like you said, a thing of beauty, like just a specimen. A guy who was 7'1", 7'2", able to run like a gazelle. You know, bully people on the court, play above the rim. His big personality, his smile, the way he had fun with the game. I remember I wanted everything Shaq. Like I don't know if you remember back in the day. I think it was either Pizza Hut or Pizza. You got that one pizza and it came with a ball with Shaq's handprint on it.
I think that was Pizza Hut. I'm pretty sure that was Pizza Hut. Man, I made my mom order Pizza Hut every other day because what was happening was every kid wanted the ball with the handprint on it, so all the Pizza Huts were running out of the ball. Yeah. So you call Pizza Hut, ask them if they, you know, have a pizza for you or whatever. Can I get the ball? They no, we ran out. Yeah. So basically, I made my mom call the Pizza Huts all around every day,
man. And I think I finally got the ball, and that was one of the greatest moments. My dad, he took a business trip out to LA one year, and that was when Shaq was playing for the Lakers. He got me a Shaq jersey.
Yeah.
I had Shaq Fu on Sega Genesis.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Exactly. I had Shaq Fu on Sega Genesis. I watched Shazam.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Shaq.
I am Kazam.
Shaq was the man. And taking it into the whole hip hop realm, falling in love with hip hop music. Shaq had a track with Big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was the guy for me. Just getting into hip hop music, getting into basketball, getting into the culture. I feel like Shaq embodied not just basketball, but he embodied the whole everything.
Yeah, the whole hip hop and basketball relationship.
Exactly. And he was one of the first guys to do that. So that was that was also one of my favorite players growing up. Thirdly, third last guy I'm going to talk about was Kevin Garnett, and obviously that was more of my high school days. I was really into Kevin Garnett. That's when I really got into actually learning the game and playing the game. And I always loved Kevin Garnett's game, from his turnaround fadeaway to his intensity, to the way that he carried his team from the point forward position, being able to play as a forward but also distribute the ball like a point guard. You know what I mean? So skills wise, that was one of my favorite guys to watch in high school, trying to mold my game after him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And KG was like a huge inspiration for a lot of people who were growing up in high school because of the fact that he came into the league out of high school.
Exactly.
Right?
I remember they used to call him the kid, KG the kid.
Exactly.
And that was one of my guys. I loved him, man, and also just because he had a lot of adversity coming out of high school. Oh, he's too young. He's too young to be playing in the league. He's too skinny to be playing in the league. He's going to get bullied around.
Yeah.
I remember he had some adversity coming out of high school with a couple of legal issues.
Exactly.
And whatnot.
Out of Illinois.
Exactly. And I remember that was one of his adversities that faced him, and people thought he wouldn't last.
Exactly.
This tall, skinny kid, coming into the league as 18-year-old, he wouldn't last. Now he's played most of his life in the NBA. He's gonna have close to a 20-year career in the NBA. One of the only players to ever do that. You know what I mean? So probably made the most money out of anybody in the NBA right now. Him and Kobe are kind of up there. So he just climbed all barriers, and with his sheer will and intensity, he's managed to have this kind of career, and that's one of my favorite players ever.
Absolutely, man. Pardon me. Now let's talk about your high school career. You played for the Loyola Warriors from 02 to about 06 or 05?
02 to 05.
Okay, 02 to 05. Yeah, man. Let me ask you something, man. I remember you guys were one of the top teams in Ontario, and you guys always had to go up against Eastern Commerce, man. Oh, man. What was that like?
At the time, Eastern Commerce, they were like a factory. They were just like a hoop factory, man. Roy Rana, shout out to Roy Rana, head coach of the Ryerson Rams right now, one of the top coaches in Canada right now. He had them running like a factory. One thing that Roy Rana did was he made sure that team and that school, he was kind of a pioneer in making sure they scheduled their everything they did kind of like a college program. They had workouts, they had shoot-arounds, they had all that kind of things. So going up against Eastern Commerce was tough because they were groomed and bred to be high-level, players, you know what I mean? And, not taking away from anything that we had, going on at our school, but, obviously, they were the elite. They were at the top. So we always ran into them, and I remember one of my favorite memories was playing against Eastern Commerce in the Humber Classic tournament my last year in high school, man. The Humber Classic tournament that year was stacked. It had Eastern Commerce, it had Oakwood, it had West Hill. West Hill was a stacked team with Javon Shepard, Kalen Anderson, Nate Skinner. You know what I mean? They had Von Road in there with Alex Johnson, Ashley July. They had St. Mike's in there with Evalda Zabas. He was on that team. That was one of the most stacked high school tournaments I've ever played in, bro. There was pros in that tournament, pure pros and D1 players in that tournament. So I remember, we ended up playing against St. Mike's in the first round. We beat them. We ended up playing against Oakwood in the second round. People thought we would lose to them, man. We beat them. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden they were like, man, who are these guys from Mississauga, man? Who are these guys from Mississauga?
Yeah.
We were the only team from, I'm sure, we were the only team from Peel region in that tournament. Every other team was from Toronto. And this was before the whole Peel basketball resurgence that's coming on right now. Everyone kind of thought Peel basketball was kind of
soft or whatever.
Yeah, it was soft. It was an afterthought. Them guys, they're from outside the city.
Yeah, they're from the burbs, whatever.
They can't really ball.
They have nets in their driveways.
Exactly, right? All the stigmas that come with, growing up in Peel region. But, we brought it to everybody. We ended up beating Oakwood, one of the top teams. We ended up beating St. Mike's. We faced West Hill in the semifinals. And to this day, I always talk about, Mike Hall with this. And he had one of the nastiest dunks on a man like I've ever seen in my whole life. And I'm pretty sure he ended that dude's career after that because...
Look like DeAndre Jordan on
I'm pretty sure he ended that dude's... I mean, shout out to whoever he was, but I'm pretty sure he ended his career, man. It was one of those dunks where everyone just ran out of the gym. The ref stopped the game. Like it was
pandemonium.
Yeah, it was pandemonium. Like he had to stop the game because like people were running on the court, running out of the gym. Like, it was too much, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up being West Hill in the second round for semifinals. We played Eastern Commerce in the final round, man.
Yeah.
Went toe to toe with them, back to back.
Yeah.
We went up, they went up. We went up, they went up. They ended up pulling away at the very end of the game, beat us by a few points. But after that tournament, man, we gained the ultimate respect from the whole basketball community in Canada. And I remember the Toronto Sun released their yearly power rankings, and they ranked us as the number 2 team in the country.
Oh wow!
Behind Eastern Commerce. And that was like one of the first times I think a Peel team has been ranked as the number 2 team in the country, not just Ontario. Like they had teams in there from Vancouver, BC, whatever. They ranked us as the number 2 team in the country. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that set a big precedent for Peel basketball. And now you see all these teams from Peel coming up and competing. Teams from Brampton and Saga and all that stuff. So. We were one of the first ones to be recognized, and it was a great feeling, man. A lot of great memories, but it's crazy you said that because we always ended up going against Eastern in every single tournament, and they always beat us. But they were the number 1 team. They were one of the best high school teams at that time. So it was great. It was great.